Hello everyone and welcome back to Russell's Movie Reviews, the show where I review stuff that's mostly pretty good but maybe one of the best movies of all time, or a film that absolutely sucks and should remain in the depths of hell. Now last time we obviously started the Karate Kid series with The Karate Kid from 1984, and today we're going to be going on to the sequel, The Karate Kid Part 2, which was released on June 20th of 1986. Now, obviously due to the fact that, Karate Kid was a massive success in 1984, of course, they pumped out a sequel, and filming basically started 10 days after the release, or practically around 10 days after the release of The Karate Kid in theaters. So, that just shows you that they knew how successful this was going to get and pumped out a sequel right away. And this is so far, I think, the most successful original Karate Kid movie from the Daniel trilogy. Because I think actually no, we'll get into that in a little bit. My history with this film, ironically enough, this was the first Karate Kid film that I ever saw. Obviously, I didn't see it in theaters. I think I saw it on TV first at a relative's house, and then obviously got the Blu-ray along with the first film. And this one always kind of stood out to me as the most interesting out of the original three, which didn't really help much that I didn't even have the third one or the fourth one. Well, I did technically have the third one, but it was on the like a 4 film pack of like all Karate Kid films, excluding replacing the next Karate Kid with the remake. But anyway, in terms of high definition, this it was only the first one, and then this, and that's all I had. Now I obviously have the 2 film pack with Part 3 and the next Karate Kid, which will obviously be discussed next week. But now as I'm getting more older, I see a lot more people criticize this film for being just not as good as the original, and I'm usually just thinking, well, why? Like, what's the problem with this film? I think it's actually really good. Um, but as the years go on, I rewatched the film a couple more times, and obviously rewatched it again for the review. And yeah, there are certain points that are not as good, and certainly lack. They there's certain parts with this film they try to replicate kind of what they did with the original, and try to make it like a new spin on it, and it doesn't work really. So yeah, but we'll go into that as the film goes on. So this film was made with a budget of $13 million. Domestically, it made about 115 million, and worldwide, it made over 130 million. So yeah, basically, this is the most successful out of the original trilogy. And I think I did say last time when I talked about the Karate Kid, I think I said for that one that roughly made about 130 million. I don't exactly know that one because not much information has been put out about the worldwide success for the original trilogy. And I don't think I don't think they did it either for the next Karate Kid. I know, obviously, because it's more recent. I know that the remake made I think over 300 million, worldwide. So yeah, but for these early, for the Ralph Macchio trilogy, it's really weird that you can't really find. You can find domestic information like how much it made in the U.S., but worldwide it's practically nothing. Um. Uh. So yeah, I think I think domestically though, I think this is actually the most successful out of the 3. Because because the first film made about 90 domestically, and 3, I haven't at the time of this recording, I haven't done that much work on the third one yet, but I think that made roughly around, I want to say, maybe 70 million. So yeah, this is the most successful out of the original 3. And of course was directed again by John G. Avildsen, who obviously directed the first one and will go on to direct the third one and next Karate Kid. Actually, no. Was this? Actually, I don't. I'm not even gonna go there right now. Um. So yeah, things go in a really different way with this film, and I think that's why I like this one so much because it's like it's not so much like oh he has to Daniel has to face against bullies like actually no I'll talk about that after the plot summary. So I'm getting way like I'm going in different directions here. So after learning that his father is dying, karate master Mr. Miyagi, played again by the fantastic Pat Morita, returns to his home, Okinawa, bringing his protege, Daniel, played again by Ralph Macchio, with him. In Japan, Miyagi is surprised to discover that his old love, Yuki, played by Nobu McCarthy, has remained single. Meanwhile, Daniel is attracted to Yuki's niece, Kumiko, played by Tameline Tomito. I'm so sorry if I butcher any of these names. I just want to state that right now. If I butcher any of these names throughout this video, I'm sorry. But romance must be put on hold while Daniel and Miyagi deal with local bullies and long harbored grudges. So yeah, you can tell that this film is going on a massive different, well, not massive, but it goes in a different direction than the first one, where the first one was really, you know, just a high school kid who moves to a new place and, has to face off against, the high school bullies. This film, it's like, we're going across the world, and now we're going to, like, places where they can kill you. So, I think that's what I liked about it so much, because even though I never really watched the original before, when I initially watched this film for the first time, I hadn't seen the original before then, but I did obviously read a plot synopsis and I've heard about it millions of times before then. So I was like, wow, this one is actually like raising the stakes a bit. Like it's really like holy crap, like they could actually die. Now that I look at it, yeah, that is kind of the case, but it's more just rehashing the original. It not necessarily like all the way, like that's more the third one, and we'll get to that soon enough. But this film was kind of the starting point where they're like, yeah, we're kind of just gonna reuse some plot details, and it's just like, you fucking lazy bastards. But yeah. I do like the aesthetic. I actually do like the fact that they actually do go to a new. The film is set in a different location than the original. Because honestly, I hate it when movies, when movie sequels, just think, okay, like this is more obvious with the third one. Let's go and not go to anywhere. Like let's not change the location to make it interesting. Let's just keep it the same. Because that just tells me that's a form of lazy writing and just shows that they don't fucking care. So I like the fact that they actually did decide to change it up a bit and be like, you know what? No, we're not afraid of, changing the formula. Let's go somewhere. Let's change it. And I really do like that. It doesn't help. Besides the fact that there are some really weird and not good scenes in this film, I think it really works, and this is not a bad film at all. I've heard, not obviously everyone says this, but I've heard a lot of people say that, like this is either just an average film or kind of bad, and I'm just like, no, that's the third one, dude. If you want to talk about a bad Karate Kid film, go to the third one or next Karate Kid. That's like top tier shit level Karate Kid movies. This one is not that bad. Like this one, like really is not that bad of a movie if you really think about it and like actually watch it. It's really not that bad. But yeah, I can't lie and say that there are some scenes that are just like what? I think the beginning for me, like right before they leave, is really where I have most of my nitpicking issues. Um, so it's like, I mean, I'll just go into it. So the beginning of the film, we see basically the end fight of the first one, which I know I didn't really touch on that much in the review, but it's like if I did talk about it, that would just be me praising the movie again, and who already hasn't really praised the end fight, and it's like how good it is. Yeah, I get that it's a legal move, but it's like whatever, I can easily, that's like really like one kind of big flaw with the movie that I can easily overlook, because it's like right at the end of the movie. Who cares? Whatever. I had a great ride. I'm not gonna be like, oh, this movie sucks because he used an illegal move. No, that's bullshit. Um, but yeah, it's just like I didn't really talk about it because it's just like, well, I'm just beating a dead horse at that point where I'm like, oh my god, this scene's so good, and it's like, yeah, everyone has talked about that fucking scene already. But so we so yeah, after that we see how everyone's like, you did a great job, and like we see that Kreese being a dickhead again is just like, oh, you're a lost, you're a loser, and then like he breaks the second place trophy. He's like, what are you gonna do about it? And Johnny tries to attack him, and he's like fucking chokes him out. And then obviously Mr. Miyagi comes in and swiftly defeats Kreese because he's badass like that. Which, by the way, I know that many people. There's speculation that goes around about whether or not that scene was actually shot specifically for this film, or was it actually shot during the production of the first film, but they cut it out of the original and then stuck it to the beginning of this film. From what I have heard, and this is speculation on my end, I don't think this is 100% confirmed yet, or it could very well be. But from what I've read, the beginning scenes, like not including the fight, like everything from uh, Daniels and Mr. Miyagi's pep talking, like the what's this area, like the locker area, to them leaving in the truck. It was all shot specifically for the second movie. And I know that people say, well, the book adaptation technically had this scene, so it must have been shot for the original. Okay, yeah, the book adaptation did include the scene, and it was in the script, but they never shot it because they just felt that it made more sense to just end the film when right as Daniel wins, the tournament, and that's it. That's a perfect end to the film. The rest of that scene, like basically the beginning to this film, wouldn't really work in the context of the end of the first one. So I think that is a way that scene is a way better beginning to this film than as an ending to the previous one. Um, that being said, again, if I'm totally wrong about it, and it was shot supposed to be in the first film, and then they cut it out and it slapped it onto this film, okay, sure, I'll buy into that. But it's like, personally, in my opinion, I don't think they did. But anyway, but yeah, after that, I think it says like 4 or 5 months later, and um, there's like a brief line of dialogue that says that Allie, the girlfriend to Daniel in the first film, I forget exactly what they said, but basically it's just some stupid line that just says, "Yeah, we're not together anymore," and it's just like, well, what the fuck? Like, you're just seriously gonna throw that relationship out of the water and just be like, whatever. And I get that, supposedly Elizabeth Shue was supposed to return for this film, but I think because I think for the original film she took a break from school to go and film the first film, and then once that was done, she was like, all right, I'm going back. And then so she couldn't really allot any more time to go and film for Karate Kid 2, so they just added a few lines of dialogue where Daniel's like, well, yeah, we're pretty much just not together anymore. And it's just like what the fuck? Like, it's legit just seems like lines of dialogue that's just like, yeah, we don't even care about this character. Let's sideline her so that the main character can have a new love interest. And it's just like fucking stupid. But yeah. Now, am I entirely mad that Mr. Miyagi is really the focus of this film compared to it being to Daniel? No, I'm not really. Um, it's I think it's just because that like Pat Morita did so good as Mr. Miyagi in the first film that seeing him basically being like the lead, like the main character in this film, I'm fine with. I'm fine with that. You know, like I said, it changes up the formula. So why not give Miyagi his spotlight? Uh, and it's just it's really nice. Because yeah, the first film you had all of Daniel like as the main character, and you had Miyagi as like a side character. Uh, I feel like that if you did that immediately after again, like in this film, it probably wouldn't have worked. And we see what that would have become. What that would have been in the third film, because the third film is basically a fucking rehash of the first one. But we'll get to that when we get to that film. Anyway, well, I shouldn't really say that. I mean, yeah, technically, yeah, Miyagi is like the focus of the story, but I guess really to say that Miyagi and Daniel like are both the main character, really, because it's like you can't really sideline Daniel, but at the same time, it is Miyagi's story, so yeah, fuck it, they're both the main character. Um, but yeah, obviously, Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita return. They both do great. We have Yoji Amakuto, or Akutamo. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering any of these names. As Chosen. Holy shit, this guy is so funny, but like so sadistic. Like I said earlier, like this is like the sort of character that like yeah, if you saw Johnny on the street, yeah, he'll beat you up, but then he'll just leave it at that. This guy could fucking kill you. Like it's like holy shit. But yeah, no, he is great, and I'm so glad that they brought him back in season 3 or 4 of Cobra Kai. Like, that was stroke of genius. Actually, that might have been season 2. I don't know. I haven't really watched all of Cobra Kai in a very, very long time. We have Danny Kamikano as Sato, who is basically the rival for Miyagi. And then I think Chosen is his like nephew, or actually no. Actually no, I think he's Miyagi's nephew, but like I think Sato's son. I'm trying to kind of anyway. Yeah, no, Sato is a great kind of like secondary villain, because it's like yeah, Chosen's really like really like the main villain here, whereas Sato is really like he's the villain for Miyagi, but he's somewhere taking like the backseat to the entire thing. And yeah, I think he does really great with it. We have Nobu McCarthy as Yuki, who was the love interest for Miyagi, which that's like another sad thing too. It's like Miyagi had like loved Yuki, but also Sato loved her. So basically, it was a whole love triangle sort of thing, and so Sato challenged Miyagi to fight to the death, and so Miyagi's like, no, I'm not going to do that, because Miyagi is not really about fighting. So he's like, no, and then so he's like, I'll move away, and then you can have her. So he moves to the U.S., and then that's when he finds his wife, and then they go into they have a kid. Then all that stuff happens before the events of the first one, which I already went over in the first in the Karate Kid review. So after this, if you're all confused about it, go and watch that one. In fact, there will be an end card about it. But anyway, yeah, no, she does great with it. And that's really about it for all the central, like, the main characters in this film. Because really, all I have left is, because, like, yeah, it's really, like, those ones, because, like, it's pretty much all set in Okinawa. So it's, like, all of those characters are pretty much the main characters to really focus on. And it's just, like, okay, move on. Like, who else is really the central character? And because the only ones I have left is William Zedka, Martin Kove, William Zedka as Johnny Lawrence, Martin Kove as John Kreese, and Rob Garrison as Tommy, who they all reprise their roles for, like, the opening scenes, but then, you know, obviously leave, or, like, they're not a part of the film again. So it's basically like it's like a cameo sort of thing, but it's still like, yeah. So, favorite scenes. I'll be honest, like, on this latest rewatch, I still like the movie, but it's, like, it's certainly not as good as the original. So, like, trying to pick out a favorite scene is kind of difficult, because it's, like, they all kind of just, the whole movie kind of just gels together for me. So, I mean, I guess, for a cheap shot, I guess, it's really, like, the end fight, because it's, like, yeah, the first one is like, it's just like a karate fight where it's like, oh, you defeat your opponent, you get a point, whatever. This film, on the other hand, is like, no, because Sato, by this point, by the end of the film, he's like, you know, oh, I'm good at, you know, like, because, like, I think, no, yeah, because Miyagi saves him, and he's like, okay, well, yeah, I've been kind of a douche this entire time, so I'm gonna fix what I did wrong, and now I'm a good guy. So they all go to this, you know, kind of like this festival. They're all dancing, and Kumiko is, like, doing this really good dance, I will fully admit. And all of a sudden you see these, like, lights pop at the background, like, pew, 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 like, on this line. And, like, Daniel looks up, and you just see fucking Chosen, like, Spider-Maning his way over to, like, the stage. Lands, gets her hostage, and he's like, alright, step one, like, get any closer, she's dead, like, has, like, a fucking switchblade. And then Daniel's forced to fight, and it's basically a fight to the death. Where, you know, because Chosen, I think at this point, he's just lost his shit. And then, you know, so he's like, yeah, you know, it's fuck it. Fight to the death, me and you, let's go. And then they just go off. And really, it's just like, this fight is more just Daniel like trying to defend himself, because yeah, he gets some good shots in it, but it's mostly Chosen just fucking wailing on him, and then, like, either him defending or getting his ass kicked. It's not obviously until the end fight, or the last part of the fight, where, you know, they get, you know, he remembers the technique that he needs to do, and he does it and defeats him. I think I haven't really talked about it this much, because, again, it's, at least for the first one, because it's so iconic that it's like I'm beating a dead horse by talking about it. But each film in the Ralph Macchio trilogy has, like, a technique that Daniel learns throughout the course of the movie to use on the in the end fight. The first one was obviously the crane kick, which is basically the most iconic one out of all of them. This film has the drum technique, which is like this kind of, and basically it's like I think they explain it as like some kind of counter technique, but it's basically you're just like punching them like back and forth, and then I forgot what the fucking move's called in the third one, because honestly I don't really give a shit about that film at all, so it's just like whatever. But yeah, I will be honest though, even though I don't really give a shit about the third one, surprisingly that one's actually kind of more impressive than this one, than the move in this film, because yeah, this one's basically just punching the fucking guy, whereas the third one is like, okay, Yechi, yeah, it's stupid that it takes like such a while to like fucking prep it and be like, ooh, I'm gonna kick your ass. But then the move itself is actually like kind of like a swift technique that you can actually use. Where this one's like you're just punching him over and over again until he drops. And then yeah, the crane kick is so iconic that it's like you can't really argue with that one. And it's like, yeah, it's an illegal move, but fuck you, because it's just like it's so badass and cool. But yeah. So fuck, I was trying to think. Um so yeah, I can't really pick a favorite scene from this film because it's just like it kind of all just gels together for me. That I'm just like, what do I choose? So I want to spend more time at like discussing like the production value for this film because really it's surprising and ironically enough the first fun fact I have is about it. So you may just like, oh, they shot it in Okinawa, Japan. No, they didn't. From what I've heard, they actually went to Okinawa to go and shoot the film. But then they realized, oh well, it's at the time Okinawa was pretty fucking desolate and bleak. So it was just like, what do we do? So they actually flew to Oahu. I think I could be totally wrong about that pronunciation. Oahu. Again, if someone wants to correct me in the comment section, go right ahead because I could have totally butchered that. But yeah, they basically flew to Hawaii to shoot this film. I think they either built or brought over 10 to 12 replica Okinawan houses and basically planted on like bare soil so that they can just film it. And I guess it's like I think they stated that like it was kind of like I guess it was kind of a good thing that they shot in Okinawa because it was like Hawaii had sorry, I think I said Okinawa. Yeah, they filmed in Hawaii for Okinawa because it's like Hawaii has like the climate for like this basically the same like similar climate to Japan, but it's basically just being like with it being on U.S. soil, so it's just like the mixture of the two. But yeah. I just find that kind of interesting that it's like, oh yeah, we want to shoot. This film is set in Japan, so let's fly to Japan. Oh shit, it's very bleak and depressing. Let's go over to Hawaii and film there because it looks very similar. It's like, sure, I'll buy into that. And so the second part actually was the second fun fact I have is actually about the music. So let's get into that. Obviously, Bill Conti returns to do the score, and it's great as usual. Not as good as the original, but it still is a very, very good soundtrack. Ironically enough, he decided to do... he filmed... Or, he did the score to this film rather than... I think I have it somewhere, so... real quick. Yeah. So, yeah, no. Yeah, so... I should probably scoot up a bit. So Bill Conti went and scored this film instead of Rocky IV. Which I find a little baffling, to be honest. Because it's like, I mean, granted, yeah, this Rocky IV still has a great soundtrack, but it's like, just imagine how better it could have been if you had a Bill Conti score attached to it. But whatever. It still makes for a very fantastic score in the Karate Kid franchise. And like also I think the song Glory of Love was supposed to be for Rocky IV, but Sylvester Stallone decided, no, I'm not gonna go for that. I'm gonna go for Hearts on Fire, which yeah, I think that one was for the better because Hearts on Fire works so much better for Rocky IV than Glory of Love, which they used for this film. And so yeah, like like the previous film, when the film came out, they obviously released a pop album to coincide with the film's release. Again, I think like the last film, there's only like a couple of tracks from Bill Conti, and the rest was like pop songs that were either appeared in the film or was made for the film, and obviously Gloria Love was the main highlight. I don't think it's as good as the pop songs from the original, but whatever. And ironically enough, it was this film that spawned all the video game adaptations, like the computer versions, like for the Commodore 64 and like the Apple and stuff like that, and obviously the most infamous one being the NES version. So yeah, obviously with the classic one that AVGN has reviewed. Yeah, that was based off of this film and not the first one. What the hell was but that? And like they marketed themselves as just the Karate Kid, so people would think, oh, it's based off the first one. No, it's based off of the second one, so why the fuck would you call it the first one? I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. So, final thoughts on the Karate Kid Part 2. It's a very good sequel. It's not as good as the original, as, most sequels are, but it's still a very enjoyable, film that I could easily watch right after the first one. It just sucks that, what the series became afterwards is not that good. But yeah, no, this does have some glaring problems with it. But overall, I still think that this is a very worthy sequel to the original. So I'm gonna give this film a B+. It's a very good Karate Kid film. Not as good as the original, but it's certainly better than what the next two were. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon to get notified when future videos are coming out. You can also click over here on my profile picture, or click down on my username down there to go to my YouTube channel and see more videos from my stuff from yours truly, and then you click over here to watch the latest 2 videos. And make sure to also follow me on my social media pages, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Twitch, because, I'm starting to get more into live streams, so stay tuned for those. And stay tuned for next Monday, where I'm going to be discussing the Karate Kid Part 3, and then the Friday after that will be on the next Karate Kid. Oh boy. I'm already have to discuss you some bitches. I'll see you guys in the Karate Kid Part 3 video. Live long and prosper. Out.